Hey everyone, welcome to another video. As always, my name is Jay, and in this video I'm going to be going over the FAQ, the new FAQ for the Genestealer Codex. Since I did the Genestealer Codex review, I figured it would be fair to tackle the FAQ, and there's a lot of good FAQ-ness in this FAQ. Overall, I think it's pretty fair. Some of the things really did buff the Genestealer Cults, some of them really did take away. Of course, there was always debate, especially in my local meta. There's debate of whether or not the Genestealer Cults follow the normal deployment rules for reserves. I thought yes, because they didn't mention it in the last chapter approved. So I figured, you know what, they can't come in turn 1 and start 9 inches away from your opponent, just like all the other armies. And in the end, that is correct. Cult ambush, it says add the following sentence: match play, units set up in ambush. Using this rule, count as being set up on the battlefield for the purposes of tactical reserves. So, it just means that they can't come in turn 1, deep strike, and attack your opponent. Just like every other army. Makes sense. It would have been cool if they had their own special rule with that kind of stuff, because it would make them really brutal, but they don't. So, that's okay. That's fair, because no other army can. If they could, it'd be pretty interesting. Next one, on page 81. So this, I'll go over each one and why it changed and stuff. My favorite one is by far the, there was a clarification on the mining laser that I really liked. There was a fixing to the Cult Lehman Russ emergency plasma events, which I really like. They made no sense originally. So, Magus, or Magus, spiritual leader, changed the ability to read cult units other than psychers within 6 inches of any friendly cult Magus unit models at the start of your opponent's psychic phase can attempt to deny 1 psychic power manifested within 12 inches of them that phase as if they were psychers themselves. Measure range to any model in the unit. Cool. Clarifies that. On page 90, Locus Unquestioning Bodyguard. Let's go to page 90 here. Change the first sentence to read: each time a cult character model other than a locus, I think that's the part. No. Each time a cult character model other than a locus loses a wound, whilst within 3 inches of any friendly cult locuses, you can select one of these locuses to use this ability instead of using the Unquestioning Loyalty ability. Cool. On page 78. Clarifies that. Page 95. Italian Jackals. So the Italian Jackals, it just clarified the addition of other models. It can include up to 4 additional Italian Jackals at power rating +3, or up to 8 additional Italian Jackals at power rating +6. The original Codex statement didn't have the up to, it said 8. So you had to do either 4 or 8. You couldn't do up to 8. So that makes it easier. You can take 6, 7, or 8, or 5, right? It makes sense. So that, good clarification. The next one is probably my favorite part of this Codex fixing. On page 98, this is what the original, this made no sense to me. The Cult Lehman Russ emergency plasma events rule. Basically, if you rolled a 1 when shooting a plasma cannon, which is highly likely with the amount of shots, right? A plasma cannon has heavy D3 shots. So 3 shots, it's like a 50% chance of rolling a 1, right? And if you rolled a 1 in the original rules, the model's not destroyed, but takes 6 mortal wounds, and you can't fire the weapon for the rest of the battle, which makes no sense. Why would you even take a plasma cannon then? No point. I would not take a plasma cannon. You know? Yeah. To take 6 mortal wounds, right? The vehicle only starts with 12. You roll a 1, you lose half your wounds. No. They fixed it. I like this. It is now, instead, for each roll 1, the bearer suffers 1 mortal wound after all the weapon shots have been resolved. So, the automatically, the 6 mortal wounds is gone. It's only 1 mortal wound now, and you can fire the weapon afterwards. That makes much more sense. That would be I'd be much more willing now to take a heavy plasma cannon, plasma cannon, because otherwise, you'd just be like 50% chance every time you fire it, you're going to lose half your wounds. Would make no sense. Right? It would just be a stupid thing to take on your vehicles. That is a good fix. Page 100. Cult Chimera. Each Astra Militarum heavy weapons team takes the space of 2 other models, and each Ogren takes the space of 3 other models. People were asking about Ogrins, I believe. That was the big thing. Yeah, that's it. So Ogrins was the big addition. Page 102. The wargear, for some reason, it was weird. In one page, it said for the mining laser, not the heavy mining laser, it was D3 damage, and one it said D6 damage. On page 102, under mining laser, it says D3. It's actually D6, and they fixed that. So it is correct. It is D6 damage. Just you don't get as many shots with a mining laser as a heavy mining laser. Makes sense. I'm really happy about that one. That's a good one. Page 111. Oh, sorry, page 108. Brood Brothers. Command benefits. Add the following sentence to the final paragraph. The command benefits of auxiliary support detachments are unaffected. Cool. Page 111. Lying in wait. This is good. I really like that, we just can go page by page. So the lying in wait stratagem. Add the following 2 sentences. Let's start with the lying in wait stratagem. Use a stratagem. It's 2 command points. Use a stratagem when you set up a unit from your army that has a cult ambush ability as reinforcements. When setting up that unit, it can be set up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 3 inches away from any enemy models, but that unit cannot make a charge this turn. Sucks. That'd be way too awesome if you could make a charge. Okay, so then add these 2 following sentences. Any models that disembark from a transport that was set up in this way cannot make a charge move this turn. This stratagem cannot be used during the first battle round. Once again, can't use in the first battle round. Makes sense for clarification. And people are, of course, like, well, if I put things in a vehicle, it says the vehicle can't make a charge. What about the guys inside the vehicle? People are trying to break the rules, obviously. They fixed it. Cool. Now this one sucks. This one's unfortunate. Page 112, a plan, generations in the making. This is a stratagem. It's 3 command points. And basically, if your opponent is about to use a stratagem, you can try to block them with this stratagem. It's 3 command points. You block it, and then you roll a dice. On a 1, it actually goes through. On a 2 to 5, it doesn't go through, and the person's refunded their points. And on a 6, it doesn't go through, and the opponent doesn't get their points back. So it's a way like the Dark Eldar. They have, Drukhari, they have a way of blocking stratagems. And theirs, I think, becomes more expensive every time you use it. This one, though, they've added it. You can only use a stratagem once per battle. Designer's note. This publication went to print before the changes to the Drukhari stratagem, Agent's Effect, were made. To make the stratagem different, while still maintaining game balance, we've decided to make the stratagem 1 use only, rather than increasing the command point cost. That's unfortunate. It's only 1 use only. You can block 1 stratagem from your opponent, and hopefully it goes through. Mass Hypnosis, page 113, which is, I believe, the psychic power, yep. Add the following sentence. So start off with Mass Hypnosis is a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, select an enemy unit within 18 inches invisible to the psyker. Until the start of your next psychic phase, the target cannot fire Overwatch. Fights last in the fight phase, even if it charged, and must subtract 1 from its hit rolls. So also add, if the target has a rule that allows it to fight first in the fight phase, even if it did not charge, then instead of fighting last in the fight phase, it fights as if it did not have that ability and did not charge. Okay, just for clarification, in case there's some models with those rules. Page 113, Mind Control, which is the other psychic power. It has a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, select an enemy model within 12 inches of Psyker and roll 3d6. And now it's changed 3rd and 4th sentence to read, if the score is less than the model's leadership characteristic, nothing happens. If it equals or exceeds it, that model can either shoot as if it were your shooting phase, or make a single close combat attack as if it were the fight phase. In either case, treat the model as if it were a separate unit that is part of your army while shooting or making that close combat attack. Okay. Basically, it allows you to take control of an opponent's thing and shoot its friends. It's pretty cool. It is short range, though, but it's pretty cool. Page 115, Rusted Claw, Entropic Touch, which is their Warlord trait. Change the first sentence. Each time you roll an unmodified wound roll of 6, In the fight phase, for a model with a friendly Rusted Claw unit, well within 6 inches of your Warlord, the armor penetration characteristic of that attack is improved by 1. AP 0 becomes AP minus 1, AP minus 1 becomes AP minus 2, and so on. Cool. Cool. On page 118. Change points values. Brood Brothers Infantry Squad. Brood Brothers Infantry Squad. Let's see where it was originally. Models per unit, 10 and 20. Makes sense. Okay, so now let's get to the FAQs. Those are the adjustments. Now a few FAQs. Frequently asked questions. Are units in Brood Brothers detachments restricted from using regimental orders or all orders? They're restricted from using regimental orders. Can Brood Brothers units in a Genestealer Cults detachment be the target of orders issued by units with the Voice of Command or Tank Orders ability from friendly Brood Brothers detachments? Yes. Units in friendly Astra Militarum detachments gain the Brood Brothers keyword if they do not have the Militarum Tempestus or Regiment keyword. If such units that could not previously receive orders, such as Ogrins, gain the Brood Brothers keyword, can they now receive orders? No. If you use a stratagem to stop an opponent's stratagem from being restored, i.e. a plan generation in the making, to stop a one-use only stratagem, such as a Tide of Traitors, does this stratagem still count as being used, and therefore cannot be used again for the remainder of the battle? No. Doesn't count as being used. Oh, that's huge. That's actually huge. Can ambush, because I'd use it just the one time only, like for Tide of Traitors. Can ambush markers be placed on top of each other or partially overlapping? No. That's a pretty silly question. In match play, can the command reroll stratagem be used to reroll the d6 when using the first curse stratagem? No. As the first curse stratagem requires a dice roll before the battle, that dice roll is considered a mission dice roll for the purposes of the limits of command match play roll. In regards to ambush markers and revealing them, what is the correct order if one player has other interactions that would take place at the same time? Example, dark matter crystal. The revealing ambush markers is the final step, after all other end of the movement phase interactions have been completed. So it's the very last thing that happens is you reveal the models. Again, very good clarification. Question. As a Brood Brothers Taurox Prime replaces all instances of Militarum Tempestus with Brood Brothers, can it now transport any Brood Brothers models? No. It can transport 10 Officio Perfectus infantry models, or 10 models that replace their Militarum Tempestus keyword with Brood Brothers. If a model suffers a mortal wound as a result of Mental Onslaught psychic power, but then does not lose a wound due to an ability such as Disgusting or Resilient, does the Mental Onslaught power continue? Yes, because it did take the mortal wound. It's just, if it passes it on somehow, or, that's okay. It keeps going. Can you use a perfect ambush stratagem on a unit set up in ambush when it is set up on the battlefield within 1 inch of an ambush marker? Yes. In a match play game, can you use a stratagem such as they came from below to increase the number of units set up underground beyond the normal tactical reserves limits? Yes. The tactical reserves limits concerning this apply specifically to deployment, while the stratagem is used once the battle has started. Cool. So you can actually do that. So once the battle started, you can actually remove them and put them underground. That's cool. Good way to give you some tactical choices. When setting up models in unit coherency as a result of the cult's reinforcement stratagem, does each model need to be set up in coherency with a model from that unit that was in play at the start of the phase? Yes. You can't just conga line your models, because they come here and then they come here beside them and they can How many auto pistols can an Italian Jackal be armed with? Answer. When the wargear option states that the same model cannot take the same weapon twice, this is referring to weapons taken from the Italian weapons list, and does not include the auto pistol that the model is armed with to start. As such, an Italian Jackal can take 1 auto pistol from the list, which is in addition to 1 it is already armed with. So 2, if it wants to. And that's it. That is the Genestealer Cults Codex FAQ as of right now. What do I think? They definitely straightened out a lot of rules. Obviously, some rules breakers were like, well, what if we do this? And they said, no. It does suck about the one stratagem. planned generations in the making. It would have been really cool to use it multiple times in a game because, again, it'd be really nice to be able to block your opponent's nasty stratagems. It's pretty powerful, but it'd be very powerful. It would be perhaps game breaking if it did. I'm really happy that they fixed the mining laser. I saw that too, and I thought that was really weird, but I thought it was the D6. It appears D6 in one area, D3 in another. One with D6, I like that. I really like the plasma vents rule for Lehman Russes. That to me is my favorite part of the FAQ because there was no point taking a plasma cannon. If you rolled a 1, it would lose half its wounds and you can't fire the plasma cannon again. I wouldn't take a plasma cannon. Now it just takes a mortal wound. That's not bad at all. Much, much better. Much, much better. That was really silly. Whoever put that in the first time, I don't know what they were talking. Like, that's a really bad rule. And it's fixed, as I said. So, and of course, you can't deep strike in turn 1. Like every other army. Makes sense. That is fair. So, those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts about the new Genestealer FAQ? Leave your comments in the comment section down below. Also, what do you think about the new Codex in general? Have you played against them? Have you played with them? What are your thoughts? Have you seen them? What do you think? Let's create a discussion in the comment section down below. Stay tuned for more videos. As always, this is brought to you by my Patreon subscribers. Link in the description below if you want to help support my Patreon campaign and support my videos. It really does help a lot. Stay tuned for more videos. Until next time, this is Jay saying, happy painting.